Hi, I'm Dirk Ducharme, and welcome to Technorazzi, this week coming to you from the IMTS show in Chicago. Last week in Technorazzi, Craig Howell of CPM Labs showed us how to use a vernier caliper. This week, Craig shows us how to read a C-clamp. No, a micrometer. That's right, Craig, so we found out I really didn't know how to use a caliper. What's this? This looks like a thumb screw.
It's not a C-clamp, it's called an outside micrometer, an OD micrometer.
Okay.
There are several different types. This is an analog version, which is just your basic reading micrometer. This is called an indicating micrometer, which takes that one step further. You have the micrometer range built in, then you have an indicator, so you can, each line on here is 1/10,000th of an inch. So you can measure different parts at the same, parts that are all supposed to be the same size. You can measure it at one setting and see the variation.
Got it.
This is a digital OD micrometer.
Okay, so this is almost like a kind of a go, no-go.
It can be used that way. It's very effective that way. A lot of times this will be mounted on a holder that sits on the bench, and the operator will open and close the anvil here. By pushing this plunger, it just slightly opens and shuts enough to get the part in there. I'll show you how it's used. You typically would set it up, and that gauge block can be taken out and put back in.
And it shows it's right at 0.
When we get it set, it's right at 0.
Okay.
Now I chose gauge blocks that were 1/10,000th of an inch different. This one measures one line below, which is 1/10,000th of an inch below.
Okay.
On the other side of the dial, this one should measure one line high, 1/10,000th high.
Okay, so a very quick indication of whether if you're measuring multiple parts, it's a very quick indication of whether they're the same or not.
Correct, and some of these devices have a little window that you can adjust for your tolerance. If your tolerance was plus or minus 10,000ths of an inch, you can set it here as a visual indicator. As long as you can see the needle, the part's in tolerance. If you cannot see the needle, it's outside. It's either too small or too large.
Okay, well let's start with the basics. I see you've got, looks like just a basic micrometer here. Can you show us how to use that?
The basic OD micrometer, again, you're reading a vernier where you have the large numbers are 100,000ths of an inch. These are further divided into 50,000ths on the top scale. The bottom has 4 lines between 0 and 1, 4 lines between 1 and 2. Each line is 25,000ths, and that corresponds with one full rotation of the barrel. The barrel is graduated from 0 up to 25.
Okay.
Well, up to 24, 25 it becomes 0 again.
Okay. This
has a further refinement of 1/10,000th of an inch this way, and again, just like the vernier caliper, you will find which lines line up, and only one pair will.
Okay.
Here is how you hold an OD micrometer. Typically, you'll hook a finger, and depending on the size of the micrometer, but this is a good way to hold it, where you're supporting the micrometer with your middle finger. You still have room to turn it. Now this has a friction thimble on the end of it, that when I get to my reading, you and I might have different feel, different touches. When I come down, once I get it there, if I just give it a little bit, this should give it the same tension. So here we are right at the 100,000ths, and we're between 0 and 1, so we're 0.100. Then we visually look, we're about halfway in between 0 and 1. Now we would go over to these lines, and we would find the 5 lines up perfectly. The 5 on this dial lines up perfectly with one set of lines. Again, look at the one below it, the 4. No, that's a little off. Look at the 6. No, that's a little off. It is, in fact, 100,000ths and 5/10ths.
Okay, let me give this a try. So you're saying I hook
your finger through there.
And that's just so I can roll this.
On this portion, correct. Okay. As you approach contact, go lightly. You don't want to smack it on there. You'll still get a wrong number. There, you're fine.
Okay.
Slide the block in. Rotate it down. When you get near the 0, go slow and see it gives. It has a friction.
Okay, and at that point, I kind of let go of
Stop.
everything?
Yeah, I keep your hand under the gauge block so it doesn't fall off. Okay. And you'll see you're at the one, which is 100,000ths. You're between 0 and 1, and visually you're about halfway in the middle.
Okay.
Now line up and look.
I'm looking for the lines, where the lines line up.
Bottom number, you'll find the 5 lines up with the top barrel.
Yep, that's the, Yep, okay.
So you're 0.1005.
Okay.
You're set.
Yeah, all right. See, I can be a metrologist. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it'll take some work.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.